Welcome back to another episode of Sean and Eds Do Baseball.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Eds.
And we're bringing you baseball history.
That's right. We're a bi-weekly baseball history podcast where the story catcher doesn't know what the story pitcher is out on the mound throwing them.
That's right. That's right. And normally the catcher has a whole system to tell people what's happening. So this doesn't happen. But that's how we do it. That's how we do it.
We've made a huge mistake.
We made a huge mistake. And before we tell everybody about our sponsors and our socials, we have a guest with us today. We have Liz McGuire, who is, in fact, the only person that's ever been on this podcast with a baseball card. That's right. She's a Topps collectible, a very real person, and the co-host of the Jay Birdwatching podcast. We're very excited to have you on the podcast, Liz.
Guys, I'm so stoked to be here. I'm terrified about this journey, but I'm delighted. I'm locked in. I'm ready.
Well, thanks for being here, Liz. We're very excited to have you come along this journey with us today.
I will say that while I'm on this wild journey, the Jays are losing 7-0 to the Phillies in the second or third inning. So any wild journey we can go on to divert from the reality that is the Blue Jays Phillies game. Let's go.
That's right. And that's what we do here. We do baseball history. We try not to be topical on this podcast, but today we're actually not going to be able to avoid being topical because when I started writing this, I did not know that the Colorado Rockies were going to be as bad as they have been, and that just totally screws things up. But before I get into it, Edsy, where can people find us on social media?
You can find us on social media somewhere at Doing Baseball or at Doing.Baseball. As I've said before, if you want to find us on the internet, try one of those handles and you'll probably stumble across us somewhere.
Yeah. And I want to give a big thanks to Two Loons Brewing. You can check them out at twoloonsbrewing.com. Grab their beer. It's summertime. LCBO Beer Store. Wherever you get your beverages, ask for Two Loons and check them out on Instagram, check them out on the internet, and, just have a good old time with Two Loons. But of course,
please be of legal drinking age and, of course, enjoy responsibly.
All right. Liz, we ready?
That was legit. That was you guys are out here taking care of the children. Look at that.
We do what we can for the children,
yep.
Liz.
Make it with the kids.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Think of the children.
Well, the Colorado Rockies are making children cry this year. They are really, really bad.
I watched one Rockies game against the Yankees. I was like, let's see what the Rockies are up to. And it was comical. There was balls being dropped. A guy threw his baseball glove at the baseball, a fielder. It was so comical that I've joined the Rockies bandwagon. This year, I'm a Rockies fan. Why? Because, we usually root to win, but I'm just rooting that they don't lose. I'm good for them for trying. And I like the purple.
Purple's great. Purple is fantastic. And the Rockies are being historically bad. And when I wrote this back in late March and early April, I thought I was writing about the worst team in baseball history. And in fact,
hold on to it. Yeah.
This team might still be worse than the Colorado Rockies this year. Right now, the Colorado Rockies are 10-50. I haven't checked the score today. The team we're talking about was a Class A minor league that went 12-58, and of course they are the 1988 Medicine Hat Blue Jays.
Ooh.
And that is who we're talking about today. I'm going to get going on the actual script here. So 1939, the Pioneer League was established as a Class C minor league consisting of 6 teams from Idaho and Utah. The league went through some ups and downs briefly, expanding into Montana in the 50s and then reclassified as a rookie league in 1964. In the late 70s, the league expanded into Canada, and in 1977, the Medicine Hat A's were born, and of course, they were affiliate of the Oakland A's. Rest in peace. So Medicine Hat has...
Yes, rest in peace, because we absolutely dummied them this weekend.
Those poor franchiseless, stateless people.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And the Vegas patch on the arm. Oh.
Oh.
Makes
So
you,
the next
makes you
season,
sick.
Yeah, the next season, the Blue Jays would literally own the Medicine Hat A's because they became the Medicine Hat Blue Jays, the Blue Jays rookie affiliate, and they stayed in Medicine Hat from 1978 to 2002. Countless developing baseball stars for the Jays visited Athletic Park in southeastern Alberta throughout the years. The team, in fact, won their first championship in 1982 with a roster that included Jimmy Key and David Wells, pitching to World Series MVP Pat Borders.
Ooh.
All right.
So
You're throwing out some amazingly nostalgic names. My heart is warm.
I missed them. Let's bring those guys back. Let's just bring them back. Let's bring them back. See how that works out.
We'll see.
No, let's bring back the 92 Jays now in their elder age. See if they can beat the Rockies of now. Let's go.
Well, I literally have a 92 Jay that played in Medicine Hat. Unfortunately, not for the worst team. But in fact, Mike Timlin played there. Lloyd Mosby played there. Carlos Delgado played there. Chris Carpenter played there. And I, in fact, went to see the Medicine Hat Jays in something like 1999 I think that was the year. I remember seeing the big Chris Carpenter banner on the side there because he had just made he was in his second year with the Jays. So anybody that they had that was a Blue Jay.
Pimp it up.
It was great. Unfortunately, they no longer exist, but Athletic Park is still there today. And although the team folded in 2002, the Medicine Hat Blue Jays' most notable achievement in baseball history is not one to be proud of. So back in 1988, the people of Medicine Hat could walk just east of the downtown core to Athletic Park on the banks of the South Saskatchewan River and watch possibly the worst team in modern baseball history, and definitely the worst in minor league history or Pioneer League history at very most. The team wasn't exactly good the year before, but they went 26-43, much better than this team is going to be. The GM, Ed Taylor, quit to take an electrician job with the city of Medicine Hat.
Right on.
That says a lot. That says a lot. It's like, fuck this. I'm out on baseball. I'm going to do some wiring.
For the city.
Yeah, I'm working for the city.
Yeah, why not?
Which I assume pays less than working for yourself.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
The GM of a rookie league team is not I don't think it pays well. And you're going to find out a lot more about this position because his replacement was Craig Bracefield from Mississippi, who himself resigned at the end of the year to take a job with the Danville Pirates of the Appalachian League. And it turned out it was a good thing he left because the team owner later revealed that the American GM had been working in the country illegally.
I love this. This is like a joke movie.
Okay.
This is like a joke movie.
We are just getting started.
Let's go.
I thought you were going to say he left to be a plumber or something like that.
So, no. He was just illegally in the country working and running the Medicine Hat for a period of time. So the team was leaderless going into the spring of 1988. And Dean Linden was 19 years old doing promotions for the Westlander Inn, a local hotel, which was actually more of a strip club.
Yay!
Yeah. So they got this 19-year-old Dean Linden. He saw the team was hiring, and he thought he'd apply. And he was just like, I can do promotions or whatever, right? And he told Alberta Dugout Stories, which is a very primary source for this, Medicine Hat News as well, also LA Times. But Alberta Dugout Stories, check out that website. It's got great content about Alberta baseball, really great stuff. So Dean Linden said, and I quote, I got my resume together and I dutifully marched down there. Unbeknownst to me, I thought I was going in for the ballpark operations and promotions department. I met with Russ Williams for probably an hour, and he said, when can you start? By the end of the day, they were holding a press conference naming me general manager of the team.
This is like one of those rookie of the year swapping bodies-esque Disney movies. It's like...
But
it's like Little Big League, but...
Yeah, Little Big League.
But Little Big League if the team sucked.
Yeah.
Just a heartbreaking movie of a 12-year-old just being like, I guess I really shouldn't be coaching.
I guess I'm here now in Medicine Hat. I guess this is what I'm doing. I'm like 12.
And Lyndon said, and I quote, it was incredible how they just kind of threw me the keys to this professional baseball team.
I feel like they could have like a draft, but like inscription of the city. Like you get a letter, you have a certain number, you can either you play for them or you get conscripted to be the GM for them.
Well, there's a kind of a secondary reason why Dean Linden was chosen to be GM of this team. The team was desperate, right? And they didn't have any of the advertising sold. So first of all, he's the strip club guy. He knows everybody in town. He can do that. He's well known in the local, around the town for advertising and marketing. And remember, he's a GM of a minor league team. He doesn't really get to make the team. He just kind of runs the team. But Dean Linden was brother to Trevor Linden.
There you go. Let's go. Let's go.
And Trevor had just helped the local Medicine Hat Tigers win consecutive Memorial Cups in 1987 and 1988. So Dean gets hired because his brother's also like this amazing hockey player in town, his younger brother. And he makes the trip to watch his brother get picked second overall by the Vancouver Canucks in the draft 1988, who would be their captain and all of that. Trevor Linden, look him up. But legendary hockey guy, but we're a baseball podcast, so you probably don't know that, everybody listening. So anyways, Pioneer League season's approaching. He goes out, he gets the advertising sold. He's feeling good about himself. He rents a van to go pick up the players at the airport as they start to arrive, right? And this is short season. This is June through August for everybody out there. So a lot of these guys have just been drafted. And one of those guys was this guy named Ray Gianelli. He was not a top prospect, and he was selected in the 38th round. But he would be the only player from this sad group of players that formed this team to ever grace the field during a major league ball game.
I was worried you were going to say he became a stripper.
He might have also done that, right?
These guys are moonlighting at the club at the end of the night, working the morning shift.
Who wants to make a few bucks on ladies' night? But Linden picks up Gianelli at the airport, and somehow Gianelli knew something that Linden did not. Linden said, and I quote, Ray jumped into the passenger seat of the van. The first words he said to me in his Long Island accent were, "Hey, boss, this team sucks balls."
Oh, he didn't know that. He thought it was a good team, maybe, perhaps.
He didn't know.
He's literally just like, I just work here. He's like, I just work here.
His brother played hockey, and he lives in Alberta. I'm not going to say he didn't know anything about baseball, but he definitely didn't know enough to understand. So Linden had no idea how true that statement would be. The team was made up of about 50% teenagers, with a lot of kids coming straight from high school who the Jays had just drafted. It wasn't a good recipe for winning, with Gord Ash, Toronto's director of player personnel, saying, and I quote, "By and large, the rest of the Pioneer League is older and more experienced."
There you go.
It's an understatement.
Those crazy kids are crazy kids. Those crazy underdogs. Maybe they're going to make it.
Well, there's also other reasons why this team sucks, and they're pretty, systemic reasons at the end of the day as well.
Their general manager is a strip club manager.
Yeah.
Number one.
Marketer.
Whatever.
And he's like
6 of one, half dozen the other.
A Nepo baby, if you will, reverse. They're like, you got a famous brother, let's go.
Yeah.
Kings of Medicine Hat. Turn those hats into crowns.
So this one pitcher, I'm gonna butcher his name. It's Tim Bresdowitz.
Yes.
Lefty pitcher. He was drafted out of Imperial, Pennsylvania in the 19th round that year. He said, and I quote, "As we started seeing what we had, it wasn't very good. For me, there were early warning signs because we did not have a lot of project pitchers. We did have a lot of project pitchers, and we also had a major language barrier." So
Oh.
there's 7 Dominican players on this team that are teenagers essentially going to Medicine Hat, Alberta, and they have no language skills. And the team is absolutely at fault for this. There is first of all, you should be teaching both Spanish and English, which I think they do now. I think it's
Or have a translator, or this is
Yeah.
again like the bobsled team.
or have a translator. That's the most simple solution.
Do
Thank
you
Liz.
think there was anyone who spoke Spanish in Medicine Hat in 1988 though? I'm gonna say no. Besides those 7 guys.
One guy.
One guy went to Peru and came back and was like, no, drink tea, and was just anyways. Yeah, you all know. We're gonna get some mail from Medicine Hat being like, that was Ian.
Yeah.
That was Reg. That was Daryl. Let's go.
Okay, so there's 7, and the catcher, the primary catcher, well, they kind of had a dual catcher, which was amazing. The primary catcher did not speak English. The other catcher was named Ricky Vaughn.
Of course.
Major League. Love it. So after 2 weeks of training, the team was ready, and manager Rocket Wheeler,
Whoa.
his real name's Ralph.
Let's go.
So Rocket.
This is amazing.
This
Didn't
just went
share-
from Little Big League to Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, this was the best movie ever. I love this movie. I think they're gonna win the championship. I'm like, these guys are gonna make it. These ragtag underdog kids, they're gonna come together. They're gonna Mighty Duck the shit out of this. Let's go.
They're really bad.
You don't know that, man. You don't know that, Sean. Give him a chance.
All right. Well, the Rocket was really confident. He, in fact, said the exact words, he is real confident. And he also said, we'll be competitive, which could not be further from the truth. For the first series of the year in Billings, Montana, Rocket said, I would like to see us win 2 out of 3 games. I think that's realistic. It's not.
But it wasn't. Okay.
So, Ed's, Liz, they get swept by Billings. And they return to Medicine Hat for their own home opener on June 23rd, 1988. And they lose 11-3 to the Helena Brewers. There was
Jay's score.
Yeah, there's about 1,000 fans that showed up to Athletic Park that night. They could also win a used car from a local dealership, according to the news. And they watched the Blue Jays second baseman and shortstop both commit 2 errors each, as well as saw Bernardo Alvarez trot home into an easy out when the batter walked and he mistakenly thought the bases were loaded.
Yay!
Oh man.
He just walked, just trotted home, and the catcher was like, tag you?
You're out?
This is very Little Big League. I love this. So at 0-4, Rocket proclaimed.
Hold on, before you move on there. Now it's become the first act of Angels in the Outfield.
There's no. Marv from Home Alone does not show up.
Okay.
So Rocket proclaimed, I still think we're going to be a good ball club. But he was wrong. And the Hat Jays, I'm going to call them the Hat Jays, continues to lose by getting swept by the Helena Brewers. And it turns out the language barrier was a problem when you had Spanish-speaking catcher behind the plate. Early in the season, Jeff Mooney remembered having catcher Juan Jaime come to visit him on the bump. Mooney said, and I quote, he couldn't speak English, and I didn't know Spanish. There was a lot of sign language and sentences like, throw ball. So
that's it. That's communication. As long as I know who's throwing the ball. But then, that's it. Who's throwing the ball? And
simple translator.
I think it was the first time they've ever met was on that mound at that time. The meeting of the mound was the true meeting at the mound.
So things continued to get worse, needless to say. Next, the Great Falls Dodgers came to town with a stacked lineup consisting of Eric Karros and Jose Offerman. The Dodgers put up double-digit runs for 4 straight contests, capping it off with a 16-0 trouncing that saw Medicine Hat fielders commit 7 errors while their batters struck out 17 times.
That's something. Isn't that
One
something?
game?
The game would have lasted hours. Hours and hours. It's probably still on somewhere.
So now we're jumping back to the Major League reference. As Dean Linden said, I quote, "At one point, our radio announcer turned off his mic in the middle of the game and told us, 'This is the worst team I've ever seen.'"
He Harry
people
Doyled
say
it.
that a lot, but like that is like for real. Like that's calamity. And it's like you're seeing the box score, right? But being there would be insane. Watching those 7 errors would be absolutely insane. You just turn into like you're watching a little league game and drinking and like shouting at them. Like
I have coached teenagers, and if I had a 7-inning or a 7-error game once, well, on my side, I don't know. It would be apoplectic. It's just awful. So Dean Linden, Trevor of brother,
Yep.
of Trevor. Wow. At 0-8, decided he needed to do something drastic to keep the attention on the team. Right? He came
did
in.
you buy them bobsleds or rollerblades? Down Mighty Ducks, they went rollerblading, and then they got maybe new gear. There was like a montage. Did you do a training montage? Let's go.
This montage involves magpies attacking him while he sleeps.
Yeah, obviously.
Because Linden announced to the media that he would be sleeping on the field until the team got a win.
This is the best movie ever.
I'm on a wake strike.
Yeah. Birds.
Yeah.
So despite the Jays' terrible play, the lead story on the evening news that night is exactly what Linden hoped for. Not like they're 0-8, but even pictures of him. He had a tent. Like he didn't just sleep out there cold.
He wasn't sleeping like rough. He had some amenities.
He went to like Canadian Tire and like was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a promotion. Give me tents.
Give me some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
He big time this whole thing.
He did. But and the pictures of this like young GM sleeping on the field go national and even like international as well. So there's pictures of him. This is how the LA Times finds out about the whole Medicine Hat Jays son. So Linden told the LA Times in a quote, "The first night there was a tornado warning and the wind blew the tent away a couple of times." He continued, "I'm not much of a camper to begin with, so when the sprinklers came on and soaked me, I was not very happy."
He didn't think about that. Nobody thought. No one thought. I bet you they were manual. People were turning them on.
He's the GM.
Yes.
So he did not plan very well, and he tells Alberta dugout stories. "By the end of the night, some nights I was sleeping in the dugout. I wasn't always in the tent, and it was wherever I could find a dry place." And as I alluded to, he also had the problem with birds that kept attacking him and interrupting his sleep, mainly magpies, which are a nuisance, and I'm sure they serve some sort of ecological function. But like,
As a bird, they fly. They bird.
they bird. Okay,
Bird.
thank you. But they're just annoying. They're awful birds, awful avian creatures. So he quotes, "I would sleep for a few hours and then get up and chase the birds. It just seemed that every day ran into another because I didn't sleep too much and I'd never been exposed to such crazed birds. They seem to be totally wrapped up in annoying me."
Yeah, they mimic too. Magpies mimic, so that'd be a whole cerebral situation.
How much cocaine was this man on?
Yes.
I'm not going to say 0, but I can't say.
Can't confirm or deny.
Yeah, no confirm or deny. Let us know, Dean.
I also feel like no one cared about this guy's strike.
They did though. No, there's still like paragraphs about this, Edsy. We're not done.
Okay.
So as poorly planned as this was, it did make a big splash. A local TV news station set up with the tent in the background to do their local weather.
He's like bathing himself in the
This
background.
is great.
So the team was away. They left for a road trip when this started. And, they get swept, of course, by the Great Falls Dodgers. And then they come home and they find that, well, they'd heard in the news, but they find their GM is sleeping on the field. And they get back in the wee hours of the morning. They're still winless, right? And they were like, we got to see this, even though it's like 5 a.m. and we just got off the bus for like 6-7 hours. And at 5 a.m., Lyndon looks out from his tent and the whole team is like crowded around, just like looking at him. He told Alberta Dugout Stories, I quote, I crawled out of my tent and they said, we heard about this. Lyndon was worried that they may be mad at him for drawing so much attention to the team's record, but he says the players were mostly fantastic about it. Recently drafted pitcher Jeff Mooney said Dean hadn't shaved in 4 or 5 days. He was wearing 2 or 3 sweatshirts. He was a mess. It got to the point where we wanted to just get a win just to get the guy out of that tent.
I was going to say, hold on. There's a flaw in this man's protest. Because if he was protesting their losses record, why didn't he tell them about it?
He just did it for a publicity stunt. I think they like left and he was like, this is bad. Like, we're really bad. As the old man announcer that's seen 2,000 games just told me, I need to do something because this team's not going to bring people to the field.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. But still, if like your motivation is to make the team win, you think that you would tell them that I'm sleeping on the field until you guys turn this around.
And like, was he going to sleep in the outfield or the infield when they came back? Like, were they going to play around this man's little sleepy time?
Well, he moves it into like the left field corner. I think the bullpen's kind of, outside, down the line. So he's just kind of like tucked away. He's got his tent tucked away behind the bullpen near the left field corner. I don't know.
Are there ground rules about that?
Yeah.
Like,
it's rookie ball.
He's hooked it over first base. It lands fair, but it's rolled into the owner's tent. That's a double.
So,
it's like playing at the Trop.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Coliseum. Rest in peace. As far, okay, so the other people weren't it. Tim Brudzowitz, the guy I mentioned earlier, He's pissed. He's like, as far as the GM stunt went, I absolutely hated it. I'm an old school baseball guy who learned from my dad that if you're losing games, work harder. And
fun guy, real fun guy. We love that guy. Isn't he fun?
The Toronto Blue Jays were also not happy with the GM's publicity stunt. On June 29th, Lyndon told the local newspaper, and I quote, somebody said they want me to apologize. Why should I be apologizing to them? I'm the one sleeping in the rain.
Yeah, and they gave him that trash team. They gave him all these he's under-resourced. He's trying to make the best of it. And then they've got the Millionaire Ball Club being like, we want you to apologize. Get out of here.
Exactly.
He's 19. He's 19, for God's sake. We've all slept outside when we were 19.
I mean, yeah.
This man sleeps outside for over a week.
Okay.
I like his boy manager. Let's go.
Yeah.
So they continue. They lose 11-0 embarrassingly on Canada Day at home. Troy O'Leary and the Helena Brewers absolutely slaughter them. They can only get 2 hits. On America's Independence Day, Jays jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first and held that lead all the way to the 8th inning, only to give up 4 runs and lose 5-2 in front of what the Medicine Hat News called 311 disheartened fans.
Aw, they're down to 300 fans.
There are down a lot of fans from the beginning of the year as well. Obviously, home opener, you're gonna have a big crowd, but it's gone from like 1,000 people to 300. And
They're like, this team sucks balls.
Yeah.
What that guy said. So they are now 0-15 to start the year.
That's an unbalance of numbers. They're probably negative. I don't know how you can be negative, but having a guy sleep on your field and a boy GM may put you in the negative.
It's very, very. They're getting killed in games too. It's not even like it's close. So, finally, on July 6th, there is a doubleheader in which the games will just be 7 innings. So, good. Maybe less baseball is good for this team. So the first game went to extras, of course, and they're tied at 3 in the 8th. and the Hat Jays battled back from a 3-1 deficit.
Okay. All right.
Then the Billings Mustangs scored on a catcher's balk.
Oh, good Lord.
The runner at third bluffed, breaking home, and the Jays catcher Juan Jaime stepped out of the catcher's box before the pitch was delivered. It would be the deciding run, and they would lose 4-3 to take the record to 16.
See, that's a fun movie. Like, that's a fun kids movie situation. It's super zany, right? Like, oh, yeah. Like,
down the line, and oh, God. So finally, though, 0-16. Finally, in game 2, the Blue Jays, the Medicine Hat Blue Jays, 1988, win their first game. They shut out the Mustangs 5-0 in front of 209 fans at Athletic Park.
that's big time.
And they free their GM from his tent, which now sat down the left field line, as I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It had been 9 nights since Lyndon had slept inside. He said he hated his tent and was hoping to auction it off for somebody to burn.
That thing would
Good for him.
stink.
Yeah, it was a stink tent. I like this whole tale. I like the manager. He's just big timing it. At first, he was like, whatever. I'll be like here for a game, 2 games. He did not realize how bad this team was until he had to sleep in his own tent.
Yeah, and he's lucky. He does a few other things, but this is he learns his lesson here, and so he says it was frustrating to watch these guys. They were trying so hard. Something would go wrong, and our players would just look at each other like, "Why is this happening?"
Oh no.
Local sports editor Grant Granger, great newspaper name,
That's the name.
said it stopped at 16. Mercifully, some of the losses hurt a baseball lover's eyes. The pitchers looked like little leaguers. The batters swung with the coordination of a sports editor.
Wow.
Little dig.
Wow, that's a dig.
Yeah.
Digging himself, right? He's ripping on the team. Good for Grant Granger. So, but one game is one game, and the team continued to lose nightly. The very next night, they gave up a 4-run lead by making errors and went to extra innings, where they lost when the winning run reached base on a misplay that also got their manager.
We love this.
Yeah, the pitcher covered first. He wasn't in time, but they thought he was, but he could have been in time if he just booted it right away. You know, it's baseball, and they're just coming out on the wrong end. They blow a 3-2 lead the next night with 2 out in the 8th on an error that led to 2 runs and a 4-3 loss. On July 18th, they were 1-20. So Rocket Wheeler, their actual on-the-field manager, told the local paper, I quote, "We're not losers. We've got a bad record, but we're not losers. I don't want them starting to believe that they are." And that's they're falling into. They've got some ability, and they've got to stop looking to find new ways to lose.
So he's no longer saying we're going to be good, though.
No.
His tune has changed slightly.
Yeah, and the coach is going to full dick mode here. Like, just like absolutely like curfew, and like you're 1-20, you can't do. They're being assholes to the players, which is probably.
I've ordered 25 tents.
That would be good. So the team responds at first, and they win 3 out of 4 games, but then they just continue to lose night after night. So they win 3 out of 4, which it's great. So the team brought in a specialist to try to help them, and we will one day cover this guy. I'm sure Edsy. He's a sports psychologist named Sam McDowell, who was a 6-time MLB All-Star pitcher and the inspiration for the character Sam Malone in Cheers.
All right.
It's 1988. You got Sam Malone basically coming to like give you a pep talk and talk to you. And this guy walks away being like, "Oh no, these players are broken."
I'm going back to the bar.
He said he was shocked at what he saw. And I quote, "The stress they were putting on themselves was unnerving. Their inability to control themselves or their talent was vividly demonstrated on the field."
It is a reversed Angels in the outfield. It's like they were haunted by their own ghosts of performance, and they just ran wild. It's like, yeah, it's like when you hear about one of those like communities where they have something called like the laughing flu, and like everyone keeps laughing and it's something psychosomatic. It's like that, only it's just yips. Everyone just yipped. Everybody yips.
Well, we've heard of them like, catcher's box and just not covering first in time and errors in like the last possible. It's just bad. Like they're just playing bad, and it's just contagious sometimes.
Yeah.
They're like allergic to winning. So losses pile up. Although a win is sprinkled in here and there, it was still miserable. Their winning percentage hovered between 10 and 15%, and the young GM continued to try to lure people to the park to see this terrible team. He had a Sunday at the Park night that featured a 150-foot banana split along third base.
Well, how long?
150 foot. I guess that's longer than third base. That's out into the outfield.
That's almost twice as long as a baseline.
Yeah. And the kids got to go down and eat it, I guess.
Together out of a trough, one giant trough.
Yeah, just a trough.
That's a real.
Come on down and get some trough split, kids.
That's a real 10-cent beer night situation. Yeah. Like this is like bad.
6-year-olds just beating. So finally, at least, that's a good prelude here, because the things boil over for the Jays at the end of a late July series in Salt Lake. The Jays were being decimated in Salt Lake City. They'd lost game one 19-2. They got spanked the next one 14-3. And then Salt Lake went up big in the early innings of game three. So the Jays decided to beat Salt Lake physically instead of on the scoreboard.
No.
So the manager gets tossed. Rocket Wheeler argues with home plate umpire Mike Snyder. He earns an injection and briefly leaves before coming back to kick dirt on home plate, and then leaves again. So Rocket's out of there. And the next inning, in the bottom of the seventh, Jays pitcher Jeff Mooney was pissed that Salt Lake's Jeff Allison had been giving signs from second base in a previous series or a previous game. And they're like, you're beating the shit out of us. Why are you cheating? Well, not really cheating, but you know what I mean? But anyways, he decides he's going to throw at this guy. And Mooney misses with the first two and then hits him with the third. And Allison's like, yeah, you meant to do that. That was 3 pitches. So he runs at Mooney, and they start a brawl, which was described as the biggest brawl in the franchise's 31 and a half years of play at Dirks Field, according to Trappers general manager Steve Pearson. So benches, bullpens clear. They're all fighting. Trapper manager Barry Moss, who sounds absolutely like a barrel of fun, was kicked in the throat, and 2 Trappers players were visibly cut.
What?
So surprisingly, the manager that gets kicked in the throat, Barry Moss, he says, and I quote, "I knew I was going to eat it. You know, you go down in the middle, everyone likes to take a cheap shot at the manager."
I like the way he knew he was going to get kicked in the throat. Like, that's what he's like, I knew it was going to get weird.
But he also was like, I was in the middle. Like, it was like, I got up right in the middle, and if I went down, people were going to kick me in the throat.
He's a scrapper.
Yeah. Blue Jays, or Hat Jays pitcher Kevin Candelaft said, I quote, "It was a pretty bad fight. Fortunately, nobody got hurt." But then also says there were some bloody faces.
It's great nobody got hurt. But like they did get hurt though. But it's great that no one got like super hurt. Nobody died. Yeah, nobody died. And like nobody was suing each other. They're just like, yeah, that's cool. You're kicked in the throat. I'll see you tomorrow.
Don't get in the middle unless you can't throat kicking. And the fans apparently shower them with beer, like because they're the away team that just like beat the shit out of this other team. 11 players were ejected, and the Jays kept losing, finishing the game losing 11-4. After the game, Salt Lake seems also pretty chill. They kept the Hat Jays in the locker room for 30 minutes as a precaution so the fans wouldn't fight them, and they dropped off a case of beer in that time.
Hey!
Yeah. So they drank a few beers, nursed a few bruised knuckles. just kind of had a good time. And Jeff Mooney said, and I quote, "The fight was the first time we stood together as a team.
They partied on.
Everybody went out and protected each other instead of playing for themselves. We were a team."
They couldn't understand each other, but their hearts said, "We're brothers."
We're brothers. We're really
Spiritually, they understood each other greatly.
Yeah.
So you may think this leads to wins, but they lose their next game 10-0. They in the 5-game series or in the 5-game road trip, they get outscored 62-13.
That's bad.
That's real bad. At the halfway point, to say the season was not going well was a huge understatement, with one of the coaches, Bob Nandon, talking to the Medicine Hat News about manager Rocket Wheeler, saying, and I quote, "It's eating him up. It's eating me up. Rocket's going to have a heart attack. He looks sick."
Aw, poor Rocket.
Poor Rocket. So July 31st, the Jays strike out 12 times, and the pitcher threw BP. The Dodgers beat them 16-0. As the calendar turns to August, the losses pile higher and higher. On August 4th, the team lost 12-6 to the Billings Mustangs, committing 6 errors and putting their record at 6-39 for a winning percentage of just 13.3. So, it's bad. And
They didn't win the championship. They didn't win it all.
No, they didn't get into this like amazing fight and then like kick a guy a couple of times and then like go into like a winning streak.
Yeah.
They just continue to be awful. The Grant Granger opined in the Medicine Hat News about the team's struggles and the Blue Jays' development strategy, that they sent more polished new players to St. Catharines while sending younger, unpolished players to Medicine Hat. So there's some like, just like, yeah, it's the Toronto Blue Jays' fault. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
It's a shitty team. He said, and I quote, "The Hat Jays had hit rock bottom, and that the Jays losing syndrome had become an ugly tumor that keeps on growing." So it's getting bad in like the local press.
This team has cancer.
Yeah. They're rotten.
That's what Grant Granger is saying.
Okay.
And they actually do something, and they play nearly 500 baseball for 13 games. They go 7-6. They double their win record to 12 wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they even beat the Butte Copper Kings 16-0.
Wow.
Candelaff said, "It was nice to beat up on somebody. We'd been on the other end of it enough." And the misery is not quite over, because although the season's almost over, the team loses 11 straight games to finish the year.
Let's go.
Oh my God. Of course.
Let's go.
They stayed true to their identity.
They are 12-58, which I gave away off the top. It is the worst record in Pioneer League history, and in fact, like the paper tracked the progress, because I think once they got like they couldn't win 14 or 16, whatever it was, they were just like, yeah. So they are the worst team in this league's history. To put that in perspective, and I know when I wrote this 6 weeks ago, it was not clear that what was going to happen. But right now, like that is a 28-game win pace for 162 games, which at the time I wrote this, I was comparing them to the White Sox of 2024 that still finished with 36 wins. So 8 wins better in the long, like if you actually did it, for a 23.5 winning percentage, whereas, as I say, the Hat Jays had a 17% winning percentage. So historically, you have to go back to the 1800s, as many people have already been talking about with the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. There's also the 1890 Pittsburgh Alleghenies, who were worse. But like we're talking modern, AL, NL baseball. Like this team was horrendous. And right now, let's see what the Rockies are at. The Rockies have a 16.7 winning percentage right now. So they're technically worse right now. So we have
wow. But like, they have the errors, but do they have the throat kicking?
Not yet. But it could happen.
And that's like crazy because like they are not a minor league team. They're
No,
supposed to be the guys.
They don't have an excuse.
They're beating the Marlins right now. Not to stay too topical, but
so right now they're 10-50, right? And this team was 12-58. So if the Rockies can win 3 games before they lose 8 games, if they can go, 3-8, or before they get that 8th loss, they're technically going to be better than this team. And they're playing the Marlins right now, which we don't want to be too topical here because people might listen to this later. But either way, go Rockies. Please be better than the Medicine Hat Jays of 1988. There was an MLB.com article, which I will absolutely skewer right here, that was entitled, "We Found Them. They're the worst team ever." And it is about the Yonkers Hoot Owls, but the Hoot Owls went 14-54, guys. 14.
Because they're Canadian. We can't even lose good enough for them.
Yeah, exactly. They ignored us.
Yeah.
The Yonkers Hoot Owls also get an extra loss for having the worst name I've ever heard in my life.
No, it's not bad. It's just super booby. Without being overtly booby, but it's like pretty booby.
It's Yonkers, though.
It's like why aren't they the Yonkers Honkers? Like, what? Did you?
Excellent point, Liz.
Right? Like, that is just a miss. Yeah.
So the Hoot Owls had 2 more wins in 2 less games. So technically they were better. And then there was a team 1954 in Jackson, Tennessee, of the Kitty League. But they only made it halfway through the season, and then they switched to become another team in the same league. They somehow had a record of 14-85 combined, but that's technically 2 different teams. So
that's 2 different teams. Those are not the same guys, man. That's different outfits.
Yes. So to just end this here, the Medicine Hat Jays were truly awful. They gave up 544 runs. That amounted to 7.7 runs per game. You can't just blame the pitching, though, because those 544 runs were only 384, only 384 of those 544 runs, wow, numbers, were earned. So many errors, just so many, 3 errors per game with 199 over 7 games, nearly. Wild. The team batted .212 with lots of strikeouts and lacked power. Led the league with Ks at the plate and were last in homers and doubles. They scored only 253 runs, over 100 runs behind the second last Pocatello Giants, who scored 358 runs. And they were 300 runs, or nearly 300 runs, behind the Dodgers, who scored 551. It wasn't all bad, though. There was a couple guys that were decent. Pitcher Rich Nowak went 2-5 in 11 starts and put up a 3.09 ERA in 64 innings pitched, and he was the only Jay that I believe that was a Pioneer League All-Star.
Way to go. Shining light.
Yeah, there was Eddie Mendez as well. He stood out. He led the team in hits with 70, which is 1 per game, pretty much, if he played all 70. He had 11 doubles, 5 triples, and a .307 batting average. There was a guy named Ricky Vaughn, which I already talked about, which is just cool. And pitcher Kevin Candelaft said of the season, "If you take away the not-so-glorious record, we had a lot of fun."
Wow. Wow.
If we were winning, it would be scary how much fun we'd be having. So thanks, Jeff.
That's quote of the year right there.
I'm just going to skip Jeff's next quote here. Either way, as mentioned, there was only one player from the team that made the big leagues, Ray Gianelli, who had clairvoyantly told his GM that the team sucked before they even played a game. Got to the show, but only briefly. He got into 9 games for the Blue Jays in 1991 before being sent back to the minors. Gianelli would play 3 seasons for the Jays AAA team before signing with the Cardinals in 1995. He would get 9 games there as well as a call-up in September. He played a few more years and never got back to the big leagues. And getting back to the young GM that led this this monstrosity of a season. He said, and I quote, "Nothing is really too big for me. I think that experience shaped me more than anything else that I can think of. Being that age and just surviving it."
Wow. Did he continue to be the GM?
No.
That was it. He was done.
No.
Or like back to the strip club with you, buddy.
Yeah, get back there. You're not even old enough to maybe go in, but
Call
back
your
there.
brother Trevor. He'll send you a cab or a car or something.
Yeah.
You get back to the club there.
So Linden never returns to baseball. He said of his brief time as a 19-year-old general manager, I quote, "It shouldn't have happened and it wouldn't happen today, but it happened to me."
He's scarred. This man is not okay. Not okay.
And that's the potentially the worst team in modern baseball. Medicine Hat Blue Jays.
That was a wild story. So to put a bit of bow on it, strangely, tomorrow I am interviewing Bob File, who was part of the 1998 Medicine Blue Jays. He pitched for the Jays in 2001, I think 2003. And Bob, he loved, I've talked to him a lot about Medicine Hat. He loved being in Medicine Hat. He said it was like super awesome there. One thing he did not appreciate about Medicine Hat, this is hot gossip. Apparently they put butter on their sandwiches. He did not enjoy that.
Yeah. I'm not a butter on the sandwich guy. I agree.
I am.
Oh,
Same.
terrible. What a way to end this.
Yeah.
That's wicked. Well, sorry. Enjoy, Bob. Check out Liz on the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. I got that right, Liz?
Yeah, it's a lot of words. I get it wrong all the time, but it's a Jay Bird Watching Podcast. We have guests. I think also we had Jeff Fry on, who was a second ever Blue Jay to hit for the cycle after Kelly Gruber, and also played for the Medicine Hat Blue Jays.
Nice. Well, this is going to end, so thank you so much for coming, Liz.
Yeah, thanks. Anytime, guys. This was super fun. Super fun.
Yeah, that was fun, Sean. And like I said before, like that sounds like it was a terrible team to be a fan of, but also maybe not. I mean, there was some crazy shit that happened that whole series. You had your general manager becoming voluntarily homeless at one point during
His
that
home was
season.
just the field. He reclaimed the field as his home.
True. Yes.
I'm
moving.
Yeah.
I had no idea that story was going to be as ridiculous as it was. And I definitely will say probably the best thing, Alberta dugout stories. They're absolutely amazing. As Medicine Hat News, LA Times were big on this as well. But like absolutely just a wild story. And unlike a lot of this, nobody dies. And,
Well, we don't know that. But what I do, this is the thing about it, is on paper it looks insane. But it would have been way more crazier. Just the day-to-day, watching those games, watching players make insane errors. Like, the whole thing is a giant calamity. Like, there is a boy manager, right? Like, a total calamity.
Yeah, and a guy named Rocket. Like, it had
Rocket Wheeler, let's go.
This honestly does have the makings of being a zany children's baseball movie.
Or a dirty comedy.
Yes. I think we should pitch this to somebody. No pun intended.
We do both pitches. We do both pitches. We
both similar.
With a family movie, and they're like, we don't like that. We're like, all right. So it's kicked in the throat. Anyway, thank you so much, Edsy, or Liz, Edsy, both of you for catching this story with me. Liz, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah,
there?
My social media is insane because I got viral on accident and definitely didn't prepare for it. So my Twitter it's Lizzie, Lizy, but there's like 10 Z's in the middle and it's impossible to find. So just Google Liz McGuire Topps Card. Some stuff will come up. I'm on Instagram on Idiot Fish, or you can find me on all media platforms. That was because I'm bad at fishing. And then you can find me on all platforms at Birdwatching GC. Just check out the pod. You can find me. I'm easy to find.
Well, appreciate you so much for doing this with us. Edsy, where can people find us?
Once again, people can find us on the internet somewhere at Doing Baseball or at Doing.baseball if you want to check out one of those two handles. Should lead you in the right direction. And we didn't say this off the top, but wherever you're listening to us, however you're listening to us, if it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Podbean or any of the platforms, give us a rating, give us a review, because that helps the podcast, helps the algorithm put us in front of more fans and more people that might be interested in hearing some crazy stories from baseball history. So once again, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. And until next time, we got more baseball history coming. I'm Sean.
And I'm Eds.
And we were doing the baseball.
Okay, bye.